Well, let's pick up on reaction to the Prime Minister's education reform announcements and to a big speech that Andy Burnham's going to make tomorrow on social care here on the Evening Edition. We're joined by the Labour MP for Derby North, Catherine Atkinson. She's been newly appointed as a Parliamentary Private Secretary in the Department of Health and Social Care. A warm welcome to you, Catherine. Thanks for being with us. Congratulations on your new role. We'll quiz you on social care in just a few moments' time. I just wonder whether we could get into the big announcement of the day, because, of course, Andy Burnham's leaning into some huge, big issues that affect the UK, affect our economy, young people, older people this week. And the announcement today that children from the age of 14 are going to be given the option to study technical subjects alongside more traditional subjects, exams, with the aim of being employed by local businesses, a technical pathway to employment. I wonder, from your perspective, from what you've seen so far, what's to incentivise businesses to get involved in this? They're already cash-strapped, struggling under the weight of some of those Labour business announcements last year. What's in it for businesses?
Well, I represent Derby, which is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to engineering and manufacturing. So we've known for a long time and recognised that technical skills and expertise is as valuable as academia at university. And while that's also hugely important, our university in Derby is number one for employability in the country. The announcement today is absolutely crucial for our city, because while we're the centre of the largest cluster of rail companies in Europe, we have fantastic manufacturers also like Rolls-Royce and Toyota and all of their supply chains, but I meet employers all the time crying out for more young people with technical expertise. So being able to ensure that young people are able from the age of 14 to have those technical routes, so that alongside being able to study the core academic subjects, they're also getting technical skills and experience so that they're able to secure highly skilled, well-paid jobs is absolutely essential.
What about those businesses, small, medium businesses who are struggling to make the sums work at the moment? It's all very well for Rolls-Royce or any other big car production company, but what about smaller companies who could benefit from an apprentice or two, but having been speaking around to a few people today, many of those businesses who did use apprentices now don't, partly because of the minimum wage, partly because of workers' rights, partly because of the NICs, the national. We've actually seen
apprenticeships being going down for a long time, and actually the focus this government has had on apprenticeships is hugely welcome from businesses that I speak to, and it makes all the difference for small and medium-sized businesses who may have more difficulty in recruiting the skills that they need. Being able to have the opportunity to invest in young people is really important, and certainly in Derby we have been focusing, myself and Baggy Shanker, the MP for Derby South, on the Derby Promise, which already has lots.
Incentivise them, though. What are you going to offer those businesses to get involved with a project like this?
Well, there's already been significant commitments on apprenticeships and what small and medium-sized businesses can be able to get in order to offer them. But I think that the difference
But if that was working, why have the numbers been going down? I suppose people would argue back, wouldn't they?
I think that it was absolutely shocking that we've seen apprenticeship numbers going down. That's why it's been such a focus of this government. And we are quite lucky in some parts of the country, certainly in Derby, we have a university technical college which does have some technical skills for people from the age of 14. So I've met young people who say this feels real, this makes a real difference, and are hugely excited, but it's massively oversubscribed. The idea that we can enable that choice for our young people across the country is a huge step forward, and with the skill shortages that we do have, we need to be addressing them. So I think this is a really brilliant announcement, and one that I'm really excited by.
How do schools manage this? We are talking about 14 and 15-year-olds here, so they can't go and work in those businesses. They can gain work experience, but only to a certain point. We're asking for the involvement of the business, presumably, to offer skills and expertise. But does this require extra teachers? Does it mean that some GCSE subjects will have to fall by the wayside to allow for area-specific industries to be able to be supported by a subject such as, I don't know, AI?
We've seen certainly with the frustrations that there have been in looking at the crisis in youth unemployment that's been rising for many years, that we do need to ensure that we aren't writing people off, that we, and especially
where do those teachers come from to actually teach these technical subjects, though?
Well, I think we've already seen steps being taken, certainly again in Derby. We've had our Derby College is now a construction technical excellence college. We do need to see those skills, and it's particularly important because we're seeing in some areas, and rail is one of those, an ageing workforce, and we need to be attracting more young people into it. And I do think that there are a lot of people who are desperately wanting to pass on those skills, and having a government that is incentivising it, that is making sure that Ofsted recognises it.
Surely the money is going to have to come from somewhere to be able to recruit teachers, even if they're from local businesses. They're still going to want some compensation for going into schools and teaching 14 and 15-year-olds.
And I think that actually a lot of the businesses that I meet with really regularly want to see the future of skills, and they want to ensure that actually the education that young people are getting matches the skill requirements that they need. So I'm really excited by this. I think that local employers, certainly in my part of the world in Derby, will be too, and it's addressing an absolute need. It's good for young people and it's good for businesses.
Okay, well, there is a lot of detail to be filled in and a lot of questions that we can't answer, government can't answer at the moment as they start to dig into and thrash out these plans.
I think that it's, what for me is so exciting that, I mean, our Prime Minister hasn't even been in place for 2 weeks yet, and we've already seen the VAT coming off of electricity bills. We've already seen the cap on bus fares going back to £2, and the 20% off on business rates for our pubs, clubs and music venues. I think these are announcements that are being really warmly welcomed, not just in my part of the world but across the country, because it is about giving the breathing space on the cost of living.
It is, and there's been questions about the funding of that, which Andy Burnham will need to address. When it comes to a big chunky education reform policy like this will cost a huge amount of money and need a lot of work put into it. Let's talk about social care, because that is the big piece that Andy Burnham is going to tackle tomorrow. You're, of course, new in the department. I think there is a lot of concern that there'll be a new national care levy. So after someone dies, that you'll pay a percentage of their estate into the sort of national care fund. Can you alleviate concern about that? Are you prepared to rule out a death tax at this stage?
Well, I can't get ahead of any announcements that might be coming tomorrow, but I think it's really important that we are seeing the Prime Minister Andy Burnham looking at tackling some really important and necessary changes, whether it's on social care or the cost of living or tackling rough sleeping, as he's committed to as well. So I can't get ahead of any announcement tomorrow. I do think that it's something that I know across the House, across Parliament and across the country, people are wanting to see steps being taken.
You would support Andy Burnham's idea or Andy Burnham's ambition to provide the first stage of a national care service for free. So it's free at the point of use. At the moment, if you have a certain amount of money in assets, 23,250, you have to pay for the entirety of your care out of your own pocket. His proposal actually is that it's free at the point of use, and then when you get beyond a certain point, or maybe we do have a national care levy on assets after someone dies, but if it's free at the point of use, that is one thing, and then when it comes to longer term care, that is then dealt with separately. Do you support that free at the point of use?
Well, I don't know what announcement is going to be made tomorrow. I do know that social care is something that's been hugely important, and it's in the manifesto, and we are already looking at the fair pay agreement for care workers, so that actually the vital work that they do is recognised and properly rewarded. We've also seen the work that has already been done to increase carers allowance, so that their weekly earnings limit has been increased from kind of about £150 to nearly £200. But we do know that Baroness Casey, as she was commissioned to do, was doing really important work on this, and we will be seeing more substantive.
Are we going to see her report back early, do you think? She's due to report back, I think, on social care in 2028, but certainly it's been floated that we'll receive that early.
I think that being able to have some meaty recommendations this autumn, I think, will make a real difference to people being able to see that action is being taken on social care. care.
OK, so we should expect Baroness Case's report hopefully this autumn.
I'm certainly aware that Andy Burnham, the Prime Minister, wants to see some substantive recommendations this autumn. But obviously it's a huge piece of work, and I think that it will be ongoing work even after that.
Anything else we might get tomorrow that you can let us in on? I know you don't want to crash any clouds.
No, and I absolutely love that you keep pushing. I'm sad that I can't help you further. Sorry.
Well, look, thank you for being with us. We'll hear more tomorrow, of course. We'll just have to be patient. Catherine Atkinson, thank you. Labour MP for Derby North and a Parliamentary Private Secretary in the Department of Health and Social Care. Good to see you. Congratulations on the new job as well.
Thank you.
Catherine Atkinson.